I'm currently laying on the floor on my brand new carpet because that's just where we're at today. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Jessica Jane, and it's been a season. It's been a crazy season. My brain's been in every single place it could ever be in, except a grounded one. So I'm laying on the floor trying to find some inner peace. But I wanted to record an episode. I had this obsession in my brain about I post a new episode every Monday. We're throwing it out the window. And I know I would say sometimes in episodes, we're going to throw that out the window. But for the summer season, exciting things are coming up. I'm traveling in Europe in June, which is crazy. I don't feel ready at all because I just moved into this place and I just feel like I'm getting the swing of things and settling in, and definitely takes a while to get into a rhythm of sharing a 1-bedroom apartment with your boyfriend. That's a smallish space for 2 people, and we're just kind of finding our flow. But there's a lot happening this summer, and I'm really starting to need to embrace that the book feels like the most important thing to work on. Now, let me talk about this more, because last summer I wasn't podcasting at all. And that was because I was writing the first draft of my book. And my vision and my goal in my life is to be able to podcast, to write the book, to post on Instagram, to do all the things and not need to pause one in order to do the other thing. But the reality of how things have been unfolding is that I have had to pause one while I'm doing the other. And that has not even been intentional, but I have barely worked on my book in the last 6 months. And I've been podcasting pretty consistently in the last 6 months. And so I think it's starting to come to reality in my mind that I'm not a bitch who can do it all. As much as I want to be someone who can do it all, and aren't we all just obsessed with being someone who wants to do it all? We can't. We're humans. Haha, human to human. And so I'm going to pull back a little bit on the podcast this summer. I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe it's 1 episode a month. Maybe you're not going to hear from me at all till September. But I'm realizing this summer is the time I need to give my book my all, because it is the time of inspiration. It is the time of being at the cottage. It is the time of sunshine fun. It is when all my creative juices are flowing. And I struggled so much to edit my book over the winter. And I think it's because my book is a summer romance set in Muskoka, and it's hard to get inspired and work on that when you're in a dark, dingy basement when it gets dark at 5 p.m. And it's wild because when I think about my dream career, it's podcasting, author, public speaking, social media gal. And I always get caught up in my mind of which one is gonna be the thing that works first. Which one should I put my eggs into that basket? Not that I need to put all my eggs into one basket, but if you're spread so thin, you're not doing everything well, you need to, prioritize. And today's episode is kind of about that. It's about consistency, but it's also about when you need to decide where you're going to be consistent on. And the reason for this is because I've had people ask me quite a bit lately, just at work, how am I so consistent on social media, and how do you post so much? And I want to be inspired by that. And how do you do it when you're exhausted and stay consistent? And so we're going to talk about all of this today. And I just had a journal sesh where I kind of realized I can't keep podcasting every single week and then also trying to work on my book every single day. And I have 3 part-time jobs, okay? And I need to pay rent now, and I want to fund my Europe trip. And so this bitch is needing to be strategic. And I think that's part of this journey of consistency and working on things that matter to us, but also being realistic on how much your body can handle, how much your mind can handle, and how much fun you actually should also be having amidst the dream chasing. So one thing that really stood out to me was a few weeks ago, it was Mother's Day, and Josh and I have just been kind of getting into the flow of living together. We are almost on a month of living together, which is very fun. And we got into an argument a couple weeks ago, and I said to him, listen, it was Mother's Day. I said, I can't be everything today. And I don't think I was a good girlfriend today. I don't think I was a good living partner today. I also, I wasn't good to myself today, but I was that didn't matter. Today was Mother's Day. And yes, I was tired and I had been doing this, that, and the other leading up to it. But I'm my mom's mom passed away. This is her first Mother's Day without my grandma around. My priority today is to be a good daughter. My priority today is to make Mother's Day special, to make my mom feel like she's not alone. And if that means I wasn't the best girlfriend, if that means the house is messy, then that's what it means. And that's okay. And that was not what I was supposed to be focusing on that day. And that's fine. And gosh, can I only imagine how that continues to become the reality once you're an actual mother. I'm not a mother, but can you imagine how much you need to juggle when you have a literal human being to keep alive? And so I'm trying to not be so fucking hard on myself anymore about not being able to do everything and to do it perfectly and to do it so well. And I was in a bad mood yesterday, and it's really crazy. Like Sunday, Josh and I had an amazing date together. We had a whole day where we just had so much fun. And then I had this like scarcity mindset about like, I need more days like this. And then the next day, we basically did the same thing. We went to IKEA and we went to HomeSense. We got a second carpet, and I was in a mood. And you know why? I think I needed some freaking me time, and I didn't know how to communicate that. And where was I going with this? There was a really profound thought to that. And I lost it. I think it's just that like every day is different. Your needs of every day are different. But overall, in the grand scheme of life, each season has a different need and has a different requirement of you. And I'm realizing that the summer is so important for me to work on the book. And not only that, but okay, inside scoop. When I am talking to people or seeing like distant acquaintances or like coworkers or just like community members in these different spaces I work in, guys, these are people I don't know well, okay? These are people that like I see their Instagrams, they see mine, but we've maybe worked a shift together once. Oh my God, Jess, how are you? What's up? What's new? How's your book? And that's always the question I get. And so now I'm like, my answer lately has been bad. How's the book? It's going bad. And that's making me so sad because somehow I posted about my book, I guess when I was writing it last summer, and everyone now, a year later, is remembering me as the person working on a book. And I think that's because it's what's meant to take me to where I want to go career-wise. But in the meantime, I also got to make money to pay rent. And so even though I see the podcast and public speaking and writing my book and social media all as this beautiful, multifaceted part of my career, we have to prioritize, we have to delegate. And the reason I'm giving so much context to this is not just because, oh, I think you're a human listener and you care if I'm not posting. It's also because we all need to have a bit of a strategic lens when it comes to our time and our energy and our effort. And if I've been feeling so depleted and like I can't relax and enjoy my apartment and rest and also prioritize my relationship and also work all these jobs and blah, blah, blah. If I can't do all of that and feel like I'm doing it well, then there's too much on my plate. And I think that's just the truth of it. We can't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Like one of my favorite YouTubers, Shayla Quinn, she vlogs, she does podcasts, she does social media, she does content creation, she has her own small business. She has so much going on. And I look at her and I'm like, God, I want to be doing all those things. She's not in a relationship. And she prioritizes her friendships 100%. And her mom, who's her closest family member, lives across the country. So the amount of energy and effort she's putting into relationships might actually not be as much time and energy as being taken up for me. And so she can, put more of that into her business. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just different lives, different seasons. She's going to get married one day. I know that for her. She's going to meet her husband and like maybe she'll need to pull back on her business. And I hope she will to prioritize that in her life. And for me, I'm in that place where I'm like, I want to make sure my relationships are being tended to. My relationship with myself, my gosh, I need more me time. And so what is the path forward, right? And as much as I want to podcast every single week, I will come back to it. But for the summer season, it's going to be a little bit more sparse. But before I bid you adieu, imagine if I just said bye after that. That's it. That's all for today. Before I bid you adieu, I want to talk about how to stay consistent, though, on things that are really important to you and what that looks like and how I do it and why I've been so consistent on Instagram for so long. And let's begin with, oh, yes, I like this beginning. It's easier to be creative when you're loving your life. When you're loving your life. The reality of Instagram and social media, I feel like we all feel we need to be on it more. We all feel like we need to be posting more. We all feel like it's the ticket to our dream life and dream career, which might be a lie, but who knows? It is a gateway to a lot of things. It is a big opener. If you have a big following, I think it opens up a lot for you. Maybe that's a hypothesis. Maybe when I get there, I'll find that that's a lie. If so, I will report back. But we all feel like, I think, or a lot of us do feel like we want to post more or be more present. And that's the hypothesis I've gathered from people asking me how I'm so consistent. And one of the things I've kind of thought about since this question was posed to me was it's easy to be creative. And for me, it's easy to post when I'm loving my life. When I'm enjoying my life. Bitch, if you were following me at With Jessica Jane on Instagram and you saw that week where I went to 3 cottages in 1 week, girl, I was like overloaded with things to post because I am so happy when I'm in the lake and when I'm cottaging and when I'm relaxing and when I'm in the sun, when I'm in a bathing suit, when I'm swimming. And I was just like, I have so much to share about because I'm having so much fun. So great. Maybe we should focus on loving our lives a little bit more and we'll have more to share on social media, which sounds like a little bit of a weird, stupid, reason to love your life, but it is a direct byproduct for me. But the second part of that is how are you creative? Obviously, because there are seasons when you're not loving your life. And that's where there's 2 kind of paths in the road. One of them is I let myself pull back and I know that that's okay. And for me, pulling back doesn't mean I'm completely MIA on social media for 5 months and I would never post a single thing. That's just not how I am. I genuinely love social media in the sense that I love content creation. I love videos. I love photos. My first career was in marketing. And so I have a genuine passion for it. So that helps. If you're someone who hates pictures and stuff, then that's a different story. And personally, I hate editing. So I don't edit my pictures at all. You might notice on Instagram, there's rarely, on Instagram stories a little bit more lately, but that's because I record myself sometimes in the morning fresh out of bed. So I'm like, let's put black and white on that. But in general, my photo dumps, very little, if any, editing at all in terms of just I go to the photo app on iPhone and just click enhance, and then it just turns up the brilliance or the saturation or whatever the fuck. So in general, I just focus on the parts I love about it. But then when I'm going through a hard season, sometimes I try to authentically share about that and know that I don't only need to be posting on Instagram when I'm going through something awesome. I also can post when I'm struggling and be candid about it. And I think that's why people maybe even pay attention to what I post, because I'm not just saying I'm having the best time all the time. And I'm real and I'm trying to just be myself. And that takes me to my next point, which is I'm not posting perfect shit. And that's how I'm consistent. I will oftentimes post something when I know it's not 100% as good as I want it to be, but I'm like, it's as good as it's going to get right now. I don't have the capacity to keep working on this. I'm happy with it. Sure, the captions could be looking a little better, but who cares? Post. To be consistent, you can't have a perfectionist mindset, in my opinion, because it just won't get done. And so that's for me, how you show up every single day or you show up every week is that it's when you're happy enough with it, then you post it, right? It's there's only so much time we have in a day. So that's part of it. And for me also, another element is knowing why I'm posting. It's funny because after one of my coworkers asked me this question, I then asked another coworker who knows me quite well. And I was like, why do you think I always post on social media? And she's like, I think you know what the dream is, you know what you need to do, and you just know how to get it done. And I was like, I know what the final goal is. I know what the destination is. I know what I need to do to get it done, and I do it. And I think that comes with this element of not overthinking. I really do feel proud of myself for oftentimes I post and I don't overthink it. I just move on with my life. And everyone's different. Josh will post and then he needs to delete Instagram literally for the rest of the day and until he wants to post again, and then he deletes Instagram again. Because when he posts, he needs to go back and check it and see if people liked it and see if people commented, and if people didn't, then he's sad and it's a bit of a roller coaster. For myself, I post and I'm kind of just like, whatevs. And I won't reply to comments for at least a couple of days, I think because I need that kind of detachment from it. And so I trust my gut on what I want to share. I listen to that intuition. And I also, as I said at the very beginning of this episode, I know exactly what I want to do with my life. And I know what it will take to get there. And I'm going to do it. And that's why I'm going to pull back on the podcast and prioritize more on the book right now, because I really feel that's going to help get me there. And don't get me wrong, fuck, when I work on the book, my imposter syndrome's crazy. My self-doubt is crazy. My like spirals of like, how am I ever going to do this? And how are people going to like ever going to find this book? And I really want to end up doing it with a big house publishing company. And you have to just know someone to get in there. But it's like, we're not there yet. That's not where we're at yet. And I don't need to know how it's all going to unfold. That would take away the fun of life if you knew how it was all going to unfold. Okay? The last thing I will leave you with is allowing yourself to play, to experiment, to have fun, and see what style of posting makes you the most happy. For a long time, I've followed Rachel Melenda, DJ Ray, and she posts pretty much every day a video of her dancing, and it always says like good morning or good afternoon, and I've just admired that of her for so long, and I've always wondered like, what could be my version of that? What could be my version of, you know, posting every single day? It's basically the same thing, but you look a little bit different when you do it. And it finally clicked and it dawned on me, and not that I just want to copy someone else, but I think it's genius. And if the goal is consistency, you have to take out some of the hard thinking of it, because how are you going to show up every day if you have to think really hard about it every day? And when you get really clear on who you want to be and how you want to show up on social media, it can kind of come together on how you can do that every day, and you never have to reinvent the wheel too much. And it finally clicked because I have been on this journaling routine every day for over a month. And the reason I started doing it is because I found this podcast called Cure for Chronic Pain with Nicole Sachs. And she talks about using this journal practice called Journal Speak to get all these unfiltered thoughts out of your head, which, LOL, I kind of use the podcast for that. But she's like, no. The thoughts that are so deeply fucked up, you wouldn't want to ever say that to anyone out loud. So I journal about those now. I try to bring them out every day, but it's hard. Sometimes it's just bullshit. And sometimes it's like, I am the most unworthy person I've ever met. Yeah, it gets dark. And so I had this moment where I was like, oh, I'm now getting known as this girl writing a book. Well, if I want to be known as a writer, it's like I'm doing this daily practice every single day. I could just post a video of me journaling every single day. And so now I hope, I don't know, I don't have the verdict yet. I hope that's continuing to reinforce this idea of like Jess is an author. Jess is the author who writes in her journal every single day and posts on Instagram. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And it's all about experimentation. And some days I'm like, why the fuck would I post this again? That's so boring. And oftentimes it's me as soon as I wake up in the morning and I look like shit and I have a double chin. But that's part of what I want to share about, is the messiness of being human, of the importance of human connection, and knowing that life is not meant to, you know, look amazing all the time. And that's what my Instagram is all about. So I hope you just got a little nugget out of that, or just enjoyed my little rant. I do feel sad about not showing up on the podcast every week because I love it and I have so many just fun random tangents I like to go on, but I also have a gut feeling that I am listening to, that the book is what's going to help me get to that next level, and it takes so much work to get there. And so I think I got to dial in and really focus on that and prioritize my well-being, because those are my goals. So I love you so much. Please keep up with me on Instagram, because hopefully I'll be posting on there a little bit more with a little bit more capacity at With Jessica Jane on Instagram. Instagram's my fave. I post a little bit on TikTok, but Instagram's where I feel like the fun is at. And yeah, I love you. I'm rooting for you. If you have anything you want me to share about, I really encourage you to submit on my website, humantohumanpod.com, because I will come out of my like hiatuses when someone submits a question and is like, help me with this. I mean, this is the reason I recorded this episode. 3 people, 2 people, whatever. We're like, how do you post consistently on social? And I was like, well, I guess I should talk about that more if so many people are wondering. So there you go. If this episode sounded chaotic, which I also said last week, so who cares? I literally, for the first time ever, was like rolling around, jumping up and down, recording this. So fun. Love you, Ben, for editing this. Thank you so much. If you want an editor, hit up Ben. His info is in the show notes. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Also, stay tuned for my book coming soon.